Hello everyone, welcome to Line Guru channel. In this video, we will learn about that why Docker is becoming so popular these days. So let's get started. So let me write down here what the concept that we're going to learn about is Docker containers, and Docker containers is the thing which will tell you that why Docker has become so popular these days, right? So before I directly jump into the Docker containers concept, so I just want to tell you in brief how people used to deploy applications earlier when Docker was not there. How applications were deployed earlier. So I'm just writing it down here. So Docker has been becoming popular very recently, right? So it's been many years that Docker is there, but it has become widely popular since last couple of years. But before Docker also, people used to deploy applications. And what were the flaws or what were the challenges people were facing that I'll highlight those points, and then you will be able to better understand that why people are moving towards Dockerized implementation for their application deployment these days. So many time back, I mean long ago, when people used to deploy any application, let's say it's a web application, right? So let's say people has to deploy any web application. What they used to do is they used to buy a server. Now this could be a small server or it could be a large server depending on the type of application that people are deploying. If people anticipate that there is going to be a huge load on this web application, there are going to be many people using this web application, then they used to buy a bigger server. But let's say if they think that this application is going to be small enough and it's not going to be used by much people, let's say it's an internal application within the organization, then they used to buy a small server. So the thing is that they used to buy a dedicated infra earlier. So this is dedicated infra where people used to deploy their application. So this application will go either to a small server or it will go either to a large server depending on the need of the web application. But it's a dedicated infra. Earlier, only one application used to be hosted on a single server. So these are my servers. Let's say only single application used to be hosted on these servers. Now, what are the challenges or drawbacks with this approach? The first challenge with this approach is cost. So why cost is a challenge? Because you are buying dedicated infra for each of your web application, right? Let's say if you are working in a large organization, there are going to be multiple web applications, and each time you need to deploy a new web application, you need to buy buy a new server for that web application. The second drawback is the capacity planning, and capacity planning is the major drawback. And what I mean by capacity planning is, so let's say you say that I have a small web application. So based on small web application, you buy a small server, but you don't know what's going to be the future of this web application. Let's say today only 100 people are using this web application, but tomorrow or 6 months down the line, let's say there are 1,000 people using this web application. Now what will happen is this small server cannot take the load for that increased load, right? Increased number of people, this small server cannot take that load. You will need to migrate your application to a bigger server in that case. So that means the capacity planning that you have done 6 months back will not hold true 6 months down the line, or it can be any time frame. It may be after 15 days, it can be after 30 days. So you need to do a lot of planning or switching of the server based on your web application load changing. And it's not even that time period. There can be cases that within the day only that you are receiving high load on your web application during the daytime, and your web application receiving low load during the night time, right? So you cannot switch your servers on a daily basis. Let's say on the in the daytime you will run your application on large server, and in the night time you will run your application on the small server. You cannot do that, right? You will take an infrastructure or a server based on what is the peak traffic you are anticipating for your web application. So let's say within daytime you think that you will receive a peak traffic, and for that peak traffic you need large infrastructure. So you will buy that large infrastructure or a large server so that you don't need to switch back the servers, right? But again, this is not an optimized planning, because during the daytime it's fine. This server is working in an optimized manner, but many of the resources during the night time would be sitting idle, because during the night time the load is very low and you are just unnecessarily wasting your resources, right? You are just unnecessarily spending money on large infrastructure during the night time when you don't need that much kind of a load on your web application. And so this is the second challenge, which I was trying to highlight, that capacity planning becomes a major challenge when you have to go with a dedicated infrastructure. Now, to solve this problem, there comes a new concept which became very popular, which is the concept of virtual machines. And I'm sure you must have heard about virtual machines. There are many applications today are deployed on virtual machines. People don't buy a dedicated infrastructure, but rather they deploy their applications on the virtual machines. And what is virtual machine? So virtual machine is, you can think it of as a, let's say you have a big server. So you have a big server. You can buy a big server today. Let's say it has a RAM of let's say you have a RAM of, just an example, let's say 16 GB. Now 16 GB is not a big server, but I'm just giving an example. Let's say it's a 16 GB. This server has a 16 GB RAM and it has a hard disk of 1 TB, 1 terabyte hard disk you have in this server. Now what virtual machine gives you a flexibility is that in through virtual machine you can split this the single server into multiple virtual machines. So let's say you can create 4 virtual machines out of this one single server, and you can dedicatedly allocate resources to each of the virtual machine. Let's say this is virtual machine 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Now each VM or virtual machine you can assign resources. Let's say you say out of 16 GB this will run on 4 GB, and out of 1 TB you can allocate a hard disk of 250 GB. So this is my RAM, this is my hard disk. So again, similarly you can do the same thing for other virtual machines also. So let's say that's how you have allocated your resources to each of your virtual machine. Now each of the virtual machine becomes a server in itself. So you can think it of as a, now you have 4 servers within the same server, where each server has a RAM of 4 GB and hard disk of 250 GB. Now this gives you more flexibility. Let's say today your application needs just 4 GB of memory and 250 GB of hard disk. You can deploy your application here. But let's say today you need a bigger space. You can create a virtual machine on the same server with a capacity of 8 GB RAM and 250 GB hard disk, right? So you can merge these two resources into a single virtual machine if you need a bigger virtual machine tomorrow. So this gives you a flexibility to increase your RAM or hard disk based on the requirement your web application has. And this does not force you to buy another server. So in the previous approach you had to buy a new server, because people used to deploy only one application on one server, because there was no concept of virtualization there. But here now we have a concept of virtualization, so you can deploy multiple applications onto the same server. You have app 1 running here, let's say. Now you can run app 2 on the second virtual machine, you can run app 3 on third, and so on. So now you can run multiple applications onto the same server instead of buying a dedicated server for each of the app. Now how does virtual machine works is, let's say this virtual machine has been created out of a big server, right? So this is a big server, 16 GB RAM, 1 TB hard disk, big server was there. You created 4 virtual machine. Now each server has its own OS, operating system also, right? So there is a operating system. Let's say it could be Linux, it could be Unix, it could be Windows, whatever operating system is, there is an operating system which is there within the server. Now this operating system, let's say it's a host operating system, right? It's a host because this server will be hosting multiple virtual machines. That's why it's a host OS. Now in order to run virtual machines, now each virtual machine needs its own dedicated operating system. So there is a concept of hypervisors using which what it allows you is to within the same host you can install multiple operating system as part of your different virtual machines. So you will have operating system 1 here, operating system 2 here, operating system 3 here, and operating system 4 here, right? So let's say this is your Linux machine. So you will have Linux here also. Now this is a separate OS from this OS, but it's dedicated to this VM1 only. So again, you will have Linux here also, and Linux here also, Linux here also. So you will have overall you will have 4 virtual machine operating system and 1 host operating system, and these virtual machine operating systems are called guest VMs because these VMs are guest to the host operating system. So that's why these are called guest operating system, uh, guest operating system, operating system. So this is my guest operating system and this is my host operating system. Now this approach has solved many challenges, as I told you, right? So you don't need to buy a separate server, you don't need to buy dedicated infra, you don't need to invest much, right? So my these two problems which I was talking here, the cost problem and the capacity planning problem, both are solved. But still there were problems in this technology also. People are still using this technology in many organizations, but still there are a lot of trend that people are moving away from virtual machines also to a Docker based approach. Now why this is happening, what Docker brings extra that people are leaving this virtual machine process also for to deploy their application. Now I'll tell you, so one major challenge here is that these virtual machines are not lightweight. These are not lightweight, and in fact these are the heavy processes which are running on your host server, because each of the virtual machine has its own operating system, and you know operating system is not a small process, it's not a lightweight process. It in itself requires a lot of resources, lot of memory. It requires a CPU processing power. So this is a major flaw, that you need a dedicated operating system, due to which this overall things become slow. So slowness becomes a major challenge when you go with this approach, that where you have multiple guest operating systems within the same host operating system. So that was a major challenge people were facing, that their machines were little slow because of having this multiple operating system. As I told, OS is not a lightweight process, it's a heavy process which makes it slow. Now to overcome this problem, there come another type of virtualization which we call today is the containerization. So there come containers, and these containers only are used in Docker technology also. So the same thing is used in Docker also. So we will use the same thing when we will dig into the containers. So this is the same containers which we today known as Docker containers also. Now what Docker containers are? So in VM, what I told you, that in virtual machine within the same server you install multiple guest operating system, and each guest operating system becomes an independent virtual machine, right? Now let's take an example. Let's take another example. Let's say you have a big server. Let's say the same big server where you have 16 GB of RAM and 1 TB of hard disk, and you have your guest operating system here. Guest operating system here you have there. Now let's think, let's say the problem that you are facing there of multiple operating system, can we solve it? So containers did the same thing. Containers solved the problem of multiple operating systems. So there is a concept of no multiple operating system. So it uses the guest operating system only. Containers use the guest operating system only. So onto this big server only, you can create multiple containers. So let's say you have a container 1, you have a container 2, you can have container 3. Now all of these containers uses the same operating system, uses the same this operating system. So underlying operating system for these containers run on the same guest operating system. They don't need dedicated operating system, and that's why these are called lightweight containers. Lightweight containers, right? So because they don't have any dedicated containers, they don't have any dedicated operating systems, that's why these are very lightweight in nature. And because of their because of their lightweight in nature, it becomes very easy for people to deploy their application. The containers remain fast. Now let's say in container 1 you can deploy your application 1, in container 2 you can deploy your application 2, in container 3 you can deploy your application 3, and each container you have allocated some memory and some hard disk. So like in virtual machine you dedicated hard disk and memory, so here also you can allocate resources to the independent containers. But the good thing is that you don't need to have separate operating system running on each of the container. They can use the underlying operating system only. Now let's say today you are running 3 containers and you want to deploy application 4 also. You can create another container on the same machine and you can deploy your application 4, right? Let's say this container is running on 1 GB, this container is running on 2 GB, this container is running on 3 GB, and this container is running on, let's say, 4 GB. Tomorrow you need another container for which you need, let's say, 6 GB of memory. You can create container 5 where you can allocate 6 GB of RAM for your application 6. So this is the major benefit within the containerized approach. You can create as many containers as you want till the time your underlying capacity is not consumed fully. Till the time you are left with any memory out of 16 GB or 1 TB hard disk, you can create as many containers within this single server. Now this single server can be used to deploy multiple applications. Today let's say container 2 is running on 2 GB, your app 2 is running on container 2 with 2 GB of memory. Let's say tomorrow app 2 load increases and you need instead of 2 GB you need 4 GB of memory. So you can kill this container and you can create another container, let's say C2 dash, which has 4 GB of memory, and you can deploy your application on C2 dash instead of C2. So that is why it becomes very flexible and scalable approach, that you can distribute your resources within your single server to multiple application, and still each of the application is running in its own dedicated environment. Each container is still dedicated container, they don't interfere with each other. So applications are still isolated within the containers, they are encapsulated within the containers, but they are still lightweight containers. They don't have their own operating system. The whole process becomes very fast, and this is the reason that people today are moving towards containerized approach. It gives you cost benefit, it gives you better planning, capacity planning, because you have the flexibility, and this approach is scalable and this approach is flexible. So this architecture has given lot of focus that people are deploying their application using the Docker containers approach, and this is the reason Docker has become so popular today. I hope you understand all the concepts. So in this video, I'll just briefly tell you about that. What I talked about. I talked about the legacy, how we used to deploy the applications in the single server. Then we talked about the virtual machines, and we talked about the drawbacks of virtual machines and a single server approach. And then we talked about that how containers solve this problem of virtual machines and a single server. All of the problems have been solved with this new technology. That's all about this video. I hope you like this video. Do not forget to like this video, subscribe Lion Guru channel, and do share this video with others also if you find it useful. Thank you.